Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith here on Sports Vibes TV, and this is another edition of the Knicks Sunday stream. And it's a special edition because we have a crossover. We're joined not only by our NBA analyst, Stephen Fox, but also by George from at Into the Knicks Verse. So, fellas, how's everything with you? You guys enjoying your Sunday afternoon?
I am. It's a lazy Sunday for me. Lazy one. Looking forward to watching the game later. Chilling out. Talking with my buddies about our favorite team.
Good. Yeah, favorite team doing some silly things though.
Oh yeah,
we'll get into it.
Oh yeah.
Foxy, how's everything with you, man?
Foxy.
Oh, I may have to drop off, folks. I'm having some technical issues, and I don't know why. I refreshed and everything's. So give me the word if you can't hear me, and I'll drop off, and I'll catch you guys another time. I don't know what. This is the second time I've rebooted.
We can hear you.
Yeah, audio is perfect. Video maybe not be that great, but audio, I think you're crystal clear.
Yeah, sometimes it catches. It'll
okay, cool.
It'll work its way through.
Yeah.
So actually, it happened with us, Keith, when we did that Randle one. Like that was all slow and all that stuff, and then it just totally caught up.
StreamYard gremlins. Hopefully they'll figure it out quick enough.
Yeah. Salute to the chat, John Talento.
Outside of the StreamYard gremlins, everything's okay, Foxy? Good?
Yeah. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the SV Nation. Salute to the Knicksverse family. That's more salutes than Jay Boogie. Oh my God.
Salute. Yeah, appreciate UBG, Andrew, John Talento, like you mentioned.
Big news.
Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Big news just came through. Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride are both available for tonight's game at Orlando.
Oh no, I think that's the wrong one.
They're both available.
There we go. Applause?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Glad to have the young fellas back, especially in a season or this part of the season where that's all we really have to play for. Honestly, to see what these young guys can do. I was extremely disappointed to see Deuce in street clothes yesterday. It caught me off guard because I guess I wasn't really on Twitter before the game. And when I saw, Deuce in street clothes with some wrap around his knee. So did you guys know he was going to be out heading into the game?
I had no idea.
I did.
I had no idea.
Hey, Foxy, you did? How did you feel when you found out?
It broke my heart because, after another, first Cam goes down and we want to see him get burned, and then Grimes goes down and we want to see him go burn, and then Deuce. So Ryan, whose last name I can't pronounce, he got some burn, and that's not the one I wanted to see get time.
Arcidiacono.
God,
that's my guy. God, Keith, you're my idol.
When I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you say it.
Pre-game.
I walk away, I'm like, Arca Nickino?
Yeah, you were pretty close in your recap. You were pretty close.
Yes. Oh man.
Yeah. So
that recap. That was a rough recap. It was a rough one.
Thibs is out here acting crazy. Yeah. I mean, we got some good news that Julius Randle, he was going to be resting his quad. And I do have to admit, I did see in the game, what was it, against the Hornets, where he was on the bench and he did seem like he was rubbing his quad at times. So, I did want to mention that. But with him being out for the remaining portion of this season, I'm looking forward to Obi stepping up. So how did you, George, when you heard that news of Julius Randle, being allowed to recuperate and not have to play games, how did you feel as a Knicks fan knowing that there's all this turmoil surrounding him and the team?
Well, I dropped to my knees and began to pray to the Lord. Apparently there is a God. I became a Catholic again. He made my dream come true. We're going to see Obi for the rest of the season, and that's fantastic. It's what we've needed, something like this. I don't think the injury for Randle is serious or anything, so it's like a good scenario. It's a good situation to be in. He has some soreness. It's probably impacting him on the court enough, and he's like, you know what? I'll just sit out. The season's almost over now. We can see some of Obi play, and look at that photo. That's great.
I mean, there's not too many great photos online, so I tried to do the best that I could.
I want to put
especially when the
He
players are
looks like
showing,
a hill.
some expression.
I want to put like a pint of peppermint schnapps in his hand. In that photo. Say, yo, Julius,
You guys are
want
terrible.
another one? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm not playing. Might as well.
Want to do a shot?
Foxy, what about you? When you heard the news, what was the first thought that went through your head?
Well, I don't ban anybody from an injury standpoint, but from his antics on the court, I was hoping that I didn't want him to be on the bench yesterday. I thought his actions on the court, one thing after another, were letting the team down, and I think he should have just said, you know what, stay home. He's staying home. He's not going to go, as it says, Fred Katz says there, he's not going to be in Orlando. But I didn't want him to be at the Garden last night. I really like him to get some time away from this team, and the team to get some time away from him.
Well, one thing I must say is we did see some positivity from Julius Randle on the sideline. There was a moment, there was a timeout where Obi was coming back to the bench, and Randle did give him a dap. So I did like seeing that. So I don't know if I would say, don't be around the team at all. But I mean, as long as he's not on the court and he's not doing those type of antics on the court, I'll live with him being on the bench.
Yeah.
George, what about you? You think he should be off the bench as well?
I think, yeah, personally, but I think it was probably ultimately the better thing was to have him on the bench and support his teammates. Then it raises a lot more questions if he's not there. So I think it definitely was it was the better decision to have him be there. Is he traveling with them to Orlando? That's going to be interesting.
No.
He's not.
No, he's not.
No.
Okay, so that makes it even better that he was there. So you're gonna get what you really want, Foxy. No Randle even on the bench, nowhere near the team. And who knows?
Just want him to be away from that.
It may be the final time we see Julius Randle in a Knicks uniform. We may have already seen it. It's possible.
Your mouth to the Lord's ears.
Yeah, I think most Knicks fans believe that it'll be the last time Randle is in a Knicks jersey, and I think
I'm
it'll
gonna
be
hang a cross. I'm gonna put a cross up here if that happens. I'm gonna have a whole Santeria set up back here from now.
Santeria. I saw a couple of those when I went to Cuba.
Oh yeah,
they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh man, but hopefully we do move on from Julius Randle in the offseason. I think it's just time for both the Knicks and Julius Randle to kind of separate. I think he's still a talented player. I just think his time has run its course here in New York, and maybe change of scenery will kind of clear his head and also put the Knicks in a position where we can continue to build around RJ. Also, how did you guys feel about RJ's performance? He didn't play great yesterday. He shot the ball poorly. He was 4 of 18 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. That's good for 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Twitter was ablaze following the game as to whether or not we should be extending whether or not we should be extending RJ and how much we should pay in an extension. So what did you guys see out there on the court? And did it, make you second guess extending RJ on potentially a max deal? George, we'll start with you.
No, not off that one game. We definitely want him to be more efficient. That's something he has to. That should be the next thing he brings to his game for next season. Right now, he's just learning how to go downhill and pick up fouls and get you needed points when you absolutely have to have them. He's focused on that. He's focused on running the offense when the ball's in his hands. I like that. But the efficiency at finishing at the hoop just drives me nuts. Inefficiency, should we say. Just makes me insane. Even when my son used to play, as a kid, I'd be like, hey, you do all that work to get to the hoop, make the bucket. It defeats the purpose in a lot of ways. And also it brings them down below the hoop, past the bucket, and it weakens the defense when you miss those baskets. And that was a big problem with Peyton last season. Remember? And then now we have Julius and RJ doing the same thing. So it's and Burks as well. Burks is a terrible finisher this season. But I'm not that worried about him at all. I think, if if you can get him for a little less than the max, go for it. Try it. If max is what he wants and that's all he'll listen for, I think the Knicks should still give him the max. They should. I mean, I don't see too many other options, really. I mean, unless we decide, we're going to trade him this summer, because we think
bigger deal.
Yeah, for a big giant monster deal. And so they're like, well, why sign him now if we're going to trade him? Or who knows how those elements will work out. But I hope not. I hope not at all. I want RJ is built for New York, and that's a very important criteria. I think that we have to keep looking at with a lot of other players. So like when Fox and I are looking at the draft, we're thinking about that as well. What kind of mental makeup do they have? What's their character? And then when you see a guy like Ben Mathurin, you're like, man, that guy can handle New York. He could handle it. So that's also really important because you can see look at the case in point, Julius Randle. I think one of the funniest things said all year was, "I'm built for it, bro." I mean that
your actions say otherwise, Julius.
Wow, when I heard him say that, I was like, "Wow, this shit's gotten serious." I mean, if this is built for it, I'd hate to.
Yeah,
I hate to see the opposite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Foxy, what about you? Anything that you've seen from
we're
RJ, especially? Go ahead.
I think we're painted into a corner because of the Randle drama in this roster that we're going to have to pay this guy the max, even though a lot of us have concerns about his inefficiency. George did a great video the other day. If you haven't subscribed to the Knicks First, make sure you check it out. But he talked about how both Randle and RJ, the tandem, are highly inefficient. From an effective field goal percentage, one is at 45, Randle's at 45.9, and RJ's at 47.1. And and then couple that the last few games where RJ was brutal on defense. So you'd like to see somebody finishing up the season at a different level than RJ, more efficient. But I think we're going to have to pay the tax and give him the max. In a perfect world, if we had a different roster and everything, if getting rid of Randle, but if we lose RJ, wow, I don't know how much the fans more they'll tolerate.
It just wouldn't be a good strategic move. That's the thing. We are.
It would not be
into a corner. We are kind of into a corner.
So we got all of us have our fingers crossed that he gets better.
One thing about those field goal percentage numbers, a 1.2 is a big difference in field goal percentage. It's huge, especially for a whole season. Those are big numbers, big difference. Like 45.9. That's where he's at right now. 45.9. Randle. That's really low to be under 46% field goal percentage for a high usage guy. This is only the high usage players. High usage players average 30 minutes a game and have played at least 50 games this year. So we're talking about the players that their offices are built around. He was the least efficient, and RJ was third least efficient. So that's rough.
Yeah.
But how about you? Keith? How do you feel about the RJ contract and the game last night or yesterday?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Nothing from yesterday's game really makes me change from my stance that I think we should extend RJ Barrett. Even if you look at his issues with his inefficiency, his issues finishing at the rim, I think we've seen enough games where we can see RJ as a player that can kind of move past some of this. We just have to see and allow him to continue to grow. He's still a young player in this league, and I think year after year we've seen him take dramatic steps in his progression. So I'm still on board with extending RJ, but I think yesterday's game, it didn't make me question whether or not we should extend RJ. It was just whether or not we made the best choice going with RJ over a Garland, because we've seen Garland really start to blossom this season as Colin Sexton has been away from the team. And I mentioned to you in text, it's extremely hard to find point guards, and Garland showed how special he could be out there on the court, especially manning an undermanned Cavs team and being able to beat the New York Knicks, even though we were undermanned. You have to remember the Cavs, they were missing two of their bigs. That's why I was a little bit upset we didn't see Mitchell Robinson have a big game. He kind of got dominated by he kind of got dominated in the paint. So back to RJ, I'm not concerned about extending him. I think you don't extend RJ at that point. Where do you pivot to? So the Knicks right now are kind of handicapped in that situation where we have to give him what he would like, and that would be a max deal. My question is just looking at it and just saying, maybe we should have pursued a point guard and got that resolved during that draft as opposed to going to a RJ Barrett.
Garland would have been a really risky pick for the Knicks at the time.
Exactly. He was injured coming in.
He was injured coming in. I think he'd only played how many games, Foxy? Like 10 or
12,
6 or
I think.
Something? Yeah, so it's like very small sample size. He is small, number 2. And they were saying at picking at number 3 would have been a reach for Garland. That's universally accepted. I think it was the wise move to pick RJ. Also, we don't know if Garland's built for New York. Guys act like it, but they get here and they crumble under the pressure. And Cleveland could make that gamble, even though it kind of seemed, wow, they already had Sexton, but that kind of gave them insurance. They're like, well, we already have Sexton. We think this guy could really be a special point guard. Let's take a risk. It's the 5th pick. Beautifully done. Congrats to the Cavs. They've done some great drafting. I love the Okoro pick as well. You can see how they're all blending well. Mobley is just, phenomenal. Who else have they drafted that's been good? Sexton, they have value there. So it's just one of those situations. It's a tough spot to be in. And let me tell you, it depends on when you look at things, though. Who knows? A year from now could be a whole different story. Not to curse anybody. A year from now, Garland's, little legs could, who knows?
Not go glass. George.
He could be on the disabled list, and RJ's still balling, and he's averaging, 42 from the 3-point line. So we'll see. Got to see it over the arc of like we're getting now into season 4 and season 5 coming up. Now we'll see whether it was a real mistake or not. I think the bigger mistake in regards to that, Keys, was not drafting Halliburton and drafting Obi. Because
we'll get into Obi too.
Because that season we were desperate for a point guard. It was obvious that we needed a point guard. We were going in with Peyton.
We've been desperate for a point guard a long time, George.
We have. But there was one right there available. Going to be for us right there at number 8. So that was in hindsight, I think a bigger issue. I mean, we have RJ's awesome for us, so, but with Obi, we don't know yet still, almost 2 years later, and we're still wondering, but we're going to see it now, which is great. That's the positive thing about the last 4 games. We're going to get to see a lot of Obi. Hey, salute Jay Boogie.
Yes, Jay Boogie's in the chat. Appreciate it. Obi, right in time.
There we go.
So let's get it to Obi. I have Obi.
I saw Delano steal too. Sorry, brothers. Hey, so shout out to Delano.
And D is balling.
Everybody tuning in.
Yeah, D is balling. I think who else?
Also,
George Alvernia.
Into even best. We did get a super chat from Buzzer Beater. Buzzer Beater asks, "How do you guys feel about Caleb Love after last night?"
I've been talking about Caleb. I think I brought him up 2 months ago on our first show, Keys, where people were talking about Ty, and I went, you know what? There's a guy named Caleb Love on North Carolina that I love a whole lot better than Ty. He's much more athletic, and if his shot falls down, but he's a dog. And sure enough, he's playing his way, I think, into the top of the bottom of the first round. He had a second round grade, but he's shown he in crunch time that he could perform. And again, like I said, he has some electric moves, man. So he has nice size, but I don't look at him as a point guard or have a guy with point guard skills. He has some playmaking skills, but
he's not bummer.
He's not the answer for us for the playmaker, for the point guard.
Yeah, I wish he. I mean, you never know, though. I mean,
You don't.
in the
You don't know.
NBA, he's got the size for a point guard, like nice
Does
size for a point guard.
6'4"?
He could end up being, like a Quickley type of point guard,
Yeah.
where he's really a combo, but he can. His passing is pretty decent. I like him. I think he's a gamer, man. He's one of the main reasons why Tar Heels are in the finals. I mean, no doubt. So he would be interesting. I think probably lower first round. I think right about now.
Yep, that's what. Yep, I'm with you all the way.
20th maybe at the highest.
Yeah, in that range, absolutely.
Yeah. You never know. He has a big finals. They could even go up into the lower lottery.
But he's hitting shots when it counts, man. So it shows what you were just saying, George, about people that have to have the certain makeup to come here to Madison Square Garden. You love when somebody shows that crunch time doesn't bother them at all. If anything, they relish it. I love that. Oof.
Man, did he come through? He came through for that team. Huge.
Has been he has been. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, he turned it around, and once that 3-point, he's lightning. So once that 3-point goes, then he's even more dangerous because you can't slack off of him. And if you get too close, he'll blow past you.
Want to give a quick shout out to Ghetto Clownfish, saying salute from New Zealand, fellas. Thank you. Appreciate the support all the way out in NZ.
Yeah.
Got to take a trip out there one day.
I just saw our brother, Kentucky's finest, Justin L. too. Shout out to him and his family.
Salute to Justin L. Drip Moore says salute Sports Vibes TV.
Yo, Drip Moore.
All right, fellas, I want to talk about Obi now. We've seen Obi now in 6 games as the starter, and this is what he's averaging: 14.5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game. He's only averaging 1 turnover, but he's shooting 59.3% from the field. He's gotten the 3-point percentage up to 33.3% from the 3, and he's shooting 85% from the charity stripe. So these numbers, as a starter, I think if we are going to move on from Julius Randle, these numbers are perfect in replacement. I think, Foxy, you've mentioned it time and time again that, the extra points per game you were getting from Julius Randle, you can get elsewhere. And the rebounds, we've talked about some of these guards we have on this team that are pretty good rebounders. So I think this team is set up if we decide to elevate Obi into that starting role. Has there been anything that has stuck out to you guys from Obi's play as he's been given more and more opportunity out there on the court? Foxy, we'll start with you.
No, that he's impressing. His MO from college, everything that his first, he goes to a place and then the next year he really grows. And so he's shown exponential growth. We hope he gets a little better on D, but he's every game we've seen him fake a 3, do a pull up midi. So hey, we want to get rid of Randle. And you were looking at these stats, folks, and as Keith just said, we're a blink away, I'll round it off 15 points. Those 5 points, as Keith just said, we could distribute among RJ and a few of the other guys. The 7 rebounds, the 3 rebound from the 10 rebounds. Again, Mitch and Keith said Quickley's rebounding like a whirlwind lately. He's a great rebounding, and the other kids in the same thing on the assists. So he's showing it. I love it. Get rid of Randle.
Yeah. What I love about him is that, what we lose in having that guy on the court who draws double teams and has some gravity to him, like Randle. When we lose that, we gain some guy who's in constant motion, constantly cutting, who gives a jolt of energy on the floor. What's also awesome about him is that he keeps the ball moving. When he doesn't see something quickly, he doesn't have an idea. Like he has great instincts in understanding, okay, I can beat this guy right now, and he'll make a move or two. He doesn't really force it as much as you would think for someone who's only a second-year player. He's showing a lot. I mean, I think I agree. I think we could easily survive without Randle. I think we could easily miss the play-in without Randle. I mean, anyone who's like defending Randle, oh, we need him on this team, and all that. Yeah, we need him to what? To miss the playoffs again? We can't hear you, Keith.
My bad. Say, look, I was able to cut you off without even speaking.
Yeah.
without you being able to hear me. That's crazy. But to be fair with Julius, people say that because they say Julius is not going to be the same Julius we see this season. They think he's going to fall somewhere in between what we have this year and what we saw last year. And I think that version of Julius is a talented player and could get us, a little bit further than we are now. It's just unfortunate we've been unable to see that Julius, and we don't know if we'll ever be able to get him back on track here in New York. I think that's the biggest issue when it comes to him.
Yeah, he's great on a bad team, but on a good team, he'll never accept being a second or third option, and that's the big thing with him. He won't accept RJ becoming the face of the franchise. He'll just be a saboteur in our midst as long as we keep him.
Yep. So if we do decide to stick with Obi as the starter, what do you think his ceiling would be? Where do you think he could become one of those all-star power forwards in this league, or do you think he'll be more so just a solid starter in this league? And at least even though he won't be all-star level, he'll be worthy of the spot in which we drafted him.
We saw the impact on Blake Griffin by his career by having a CP. But you imagine, let's say it's IQ, let's say it's an RJ, and God please, God please, it's a Ben. Those guys feeding him for baseline dunks and in transition and everything. I think everyone would see him as a totally different player with the right guys around him, and also a different coach around him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he you can see, when he's on the court with like Derrick Rose, how effective that point guard uses him. So if he was on the court, imagine, if he played with that's another reason why IQ should have started, because Obi started. So why not you all season long, you talk about, I like that unit. I like the way that unit plays together. Well, one of those key players from that unit is in the starting lineup because of injury. So why not promote the other one too? Especially since the guy who's playing point isn't a point guard. So this is the kind of frustration.
Wait, that's not according to Thibs, and Keys will get to that in a little while, but he drives me crazy by his comments because it was almost I took it as a derogatory comment toward Quick, that we'll get to, but doesn't surprise me. But the Keys' thing, I could absolutely see Obi, people looking at him in a totally different way, utilizing his talents rather than parking him out by the 3-point line like Thibs did in his first season.
Yeah. Fellas, I just want to answer Ola Sumbo's question. It says, how many minutes is he's averaging? He's averaging 32.2 minutes per game in those 6 starts.
I think, I've said this before. I do believe that him in the right situation could be a 20-10 guy.
Absolutely.
Like 20 points, 10 rebounds. I think he could average that for a season or two in his career. I think it could be a solid starter. Maybe average over the arc of a full career, maybe 18 points a game, around there, 9 rebounds, 8.5 to 9 rebounds for the whole career. That's a quality starting power forward. His athleticism is just crazy. It's just, and he's fun to watch. I think he's fun to play with. You could see the other guys on the court enjoy playing with him. So
don't forget the assists, man. He had 4 yesterday. He's a better passer. He just hasn't, with the pinch post and stuff, he hasn't been put in that situation. So I think, and what you just touched on, the different, one of the key differences between him and Randle is that there's a smile on his face. There's a different joy. There's a different energy rather than a scowl and screaming at the refs every 2 seconds.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so is he ever going to give you a season like Randle gave us last year? Well, there's been very few like that. 24, what was it? 24, 10, and 6 on 40% from the three-point line. Only Larry Bird has ever done that.
Yep.
That's it. Isn't it crazy to think only Larry Bird has ever done it? Jokic almost did it with Randle last season. You remember that, guys? But his, I think one of the stats dropped just below that threshold
by the end of the season.
Yeah. For all we actually, Jokic is doing it this year. So those are MVP type seasons. In fact, Larry Bird won the MVP when he did it, and I think
Randle got a vote, didn't he?
Randle, I think he did get a vote. Yeah.
Hey, folks, we have 102 people in the chat. We have 34 likes. Do us a solid. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. And please turn on the all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the great content from both Sports Vibe TV and Into the Knicksverse. And please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do.
Thanks. Thank you, Foxy, for that. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We appreciate it. We got up to 40. So, Foxy, thank you for the shout out. Appreciate it. And we mentioned a little while ago about Thibs and some of the nonsense he's spewing when it comes to starting Burks over Quickley. So I'm just going to make it a little bit larger for the viewers to see, and I'm going to read it. He says, when you look at the combinations that have played the best for us, it's clear that Alec has performed really well because of his size and what he can do for us. But you have to play well. I'm pleased with the way Quick has played. He continues to get better. You also look at what's best for this team. It's not necessarily what's best for Quick, it's what's best for the group. If you look at all the different starting lineups and look at what they did and say, the group that's starting is the best group they have.
What the hell is he talking about? He's the one who sets the starting lineup. He's never started Quickley.
And what the hell does he mean? What's best?
He's never started the lineup we want. So yeah, compared to the bullshit lineups you put out there, yeah. He's like,
oh man,
he's like patting himself on the back. Well, I figured out a lineup that isn't total trash. It's like, yo, bro, no.
Is he calling Quick selfish? It's not necessarily what's best for Quick. It's like,
it's what's best for the group.
Yeah, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
And I mean, we're trying to cultivate young talent, so it might not be what's best for Quick, per se, but it's what's best for some of the young players on this roster. And I think we've already mentioned that one of the best things for Quick right now is to get him into the starting lineup and get him acclimated to being a starter. And let's check off a question mark. Is Quick a starter in this league? And we can do so by playing him as a starter in this closing stretch of the season. And the fact that Thibs has not been doing it is extremely frustrating. Also, not necessarily what's best for Quick, what's best for the young players. We said, talking about Obi, what's best for him is playing with the point guard like Quick. So why wouldn't you want to pair those two in the starting lineup is beyond me. And I also want to show you guys, this is coming from the Strickland, and it just, they posted it about a week ago showing what the best lineups were by point differential for this season. Just going to enlarge it once again while we discuss. Oh, no, I can do this. Boom. So that way you guys can see. And if you look, Quick is featured in a bunch of these lineups. And the best lineup I see right now is that number 6, because it features players that are available and can start for this team. So you've got Quick as the starter. Burks, still starting, but this time at the 2 in a more natural position for him. You've got RJ at the 3. You've got Obi at the 4, and then you've got Mitch Robinson at the 5. So now, fellas, I sent this to you guys earlier. You guys reviewed it. Were there any lineups that stuck out to you and kind of went against what Tom Thibodeau has been saying for weeks?
He's been lying to us. George has brought it up. So the whole comment that you just showed, the comment prior to this chart, this lineup here is like, it's not true what he's saying. That Burks isn't better than Quick in a lot of the lineups. So he can spiel his lies, but I like any lineup without Randle in it. So the one that you just said, number 6, does that come with fries and no Randle? I'll take it.
Yeah, hold
and it's funny. We have access
Randle
to even more of these lineups because now we heard Deuce and also Grimes are going to be available for tonight's game. So that allows us to have much more combinations out there that don't feature Alec Burks as the point guard or the starting point guard. He shouldn't be playing point, period. Have him play off ball with a guy like an Emmanuel Quickley and a Deuce McBride who is now healthy and available to play. I think that's when you'll see the Knicks in their best form. I mean, look at it. Miles McBride has the first 2. Then you've got Quick, and then you've got D Rose. You don't see Alec Burks as the starting point guard or as a point guard until you get to number 12.
Ooh, I like that combo with the Evan Fournier. Oh my God, that's save the D on that one.
You got Evan and Obi, and you've got Taj out there. That's not a great setting, a great lineup when it comes to trying to be solid defensively.
Yeah, but I think Thibs is in love with that lineup. I can see little hearts coming out of him. Oh boy,
Right.
vets.
he gets to get his guy Taj Gibson some minutes, which was kind of crazy to me, seeing him get minutes at the center position over Sims. That was a little frustrating to watch as well.
Yeah, 15 minutes and no personal fouls. So it's like I said to you, they should play Sims until he fouls out every game, because every possession is a learning lesson for him.
Okay.
But not for Thibs.
So Alec Burks, all lineups where he plays point guard, the Knicks are a minus 3.1 differential, 36th percentile. And that's the low end. Defensively, we're 31 percentile. We allow 114 possessions, and we only score 111.5 per 100 possessions for a 44 percentile offense. So that comes out to a minus 3.1 differential. That's all possessions, 1,760 possessions that Alec Burks has played the point guard. This removes garbage time. Remember that. So meaningful minutes, a minus 3.1. Now we're going to see Emmanuel Quickley. It just, so it's silly to this. What he's saying is, I found a lineup that kind of works. It just isn't horrible. Is that what we're looking at here? Is that what we want? No, we want the best situation to win. It just doesn't.
Well, more so, I want the situation that gets the development more so than winning at this point. I want to see the young guys out there with a lineup that puts them, like you said, in the best position to win. I'm not too concerned about the final outcome. I'm more concerned about how the guys look when I watch the game for, as Thibs say, the second and third time, to see if they're starting to get better out there on the court, if they're starting to change some of their habits and things like that. That's what I'm looking for right now. That's why it was so demoralizing to see that both Grimes and Deuce weren't going to be available, especially in a time where they're going to get extended minutes. There's no reason they shouldn't get extended minutes. And if they don't get extended minutes during this time, then we need to continue to hold Thibs' feet to the fire, because this is, I think, the best opportunity we're going to see before next season to really evaluate these guys and see what their long-term roles on this team could be.
Yep.
Especially against teams that are trying to make the playoffs or, improve their thing. So they're real games. So let's see how the kids play against somebody who's really trying.
Yeah, not just Charlotte would have been a big game to have him available for.
Yeah.
Well, Grimes at least.
Now,
you able to pull up Quickley?
Yeah, Quickley, when he's the point guard for 1,822 possessions, includes time when Burks is also on the court, but Quickley is slotted as the point guard according to here. All possessions, he's a minus 0.5. We're 47 percentile. So it's 2.6 points better per game with Quickley as the point guard. Now that includes, everything. Possessions with Nerlens, all kinds of possessions are included in this one. So he, and that includes a lineup of Quick, Burks, RJ, Randle, and Mitch. That is a minus 9.6. It's only 106 possessions. But a lineup of, this is wild, Quick, Burks, Grimes, Toppin, and Taj, it's a plus 10.8. 111 possessions. That lineup. So
Taj must have been hitting them corner threes when he was out there.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Let's just take Randle off the court. Let's see what it gives us. This is going to be wild.
The answer is joy.
Guys, I put the starting lineup up for you guys, and it's more bad news.
Jeez.
Shocking.
SOS. Same old shit. Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett. Well, I guess I can't say SOS because Obi Toppin in for Randle.
Obi's the bright spot there, man.
Yeah. He is.
Nice to see that there. I mean, obviously RJ too. But
shout out to We Surveyed 100 People, our field producer, for always giving us that information.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to my friend Soulfinger 12. Hope all is well. San Diego smooth, like I call him, and on the west side of San Diego. Hope he's all is well with him and his family and his girls playing hoops.
So Nick Yak says Archie Diacono was great. He's getting 15 minutes tonight. Get ready. I better see Deuce get more minutes than Ryan A.
You got that
There's
right.
no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's coming back from a quote unquote injury, but I don't think it was too severe. So I think he should be getting way more minutes than Ryan A. We got to see what he can do.
Yeah,
And I
we have
think
to.
when you put Quick at the starting point guard position, it now opens the second unit up more to have Deuce kind of run the show. And I would like to see how this team looks when we have Deuce as the guy initiating the offense. And I think it'll help develop Deuce and help him become a better point guard, because we all know he needs to tighten up his dribble. So let's see how he looks when he's under fire and he's being harassed by opposing teams. And I think this, the team that we're going up against in the Orlando Magic, it's a soft spot in the remaining portion of this schedule for him to go out there and see what he can provide this team.
Totally agree.
All right, let's see what else we got going on. Sincere the Genius says, what is wrong with Thibs? The season is over. Take out Burks and Fournier. I mean, Fournier's been killing in first quarters. In first quarter. So
Yeah.
I've kind of, my stance on Fournier has changed a little bit. Before it was like you got to get him out of here at all costs. But now the way he's been able to shoot, defense is still a major issue. And I know we're giving RJ hell about the way he's played defensively, but a lot of that was because of Evan Fournier was getting attacked out there. I think JD, he mentioned it on the post game of the game against the Hornets, where they were able to attack him time and time again. So Fournier has been terrible defensively. You can't defend it, but on games when he's knocking down the three, you can tolerate it. So with him off the bench, I think it'll minimize the minutes he's out there overall, so that way he can't be attacked on defense. And then if he's going up against the second unit, he can keep hitting those guys with that little step back three and knock them down all night. So I'm changing my stance a little bit on Fournier. I'll be cool with him in a backup role as opposed to him going out there every night and being a starter.
Yeah, I totally agree. If against the second team, at least he doesn't have to defend the elite first team players. We're at 6:00, so we have a few minutes to go before the game.
Yep, let's run through the stats real quick. The last 10 games, Knicks are 6-4. Orlando Magic have been 2-8, and they've losers of their last 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
If you look at the points per game, Knicks are up 109.2 compared to 103.8 for the Magic. Assists per game, the Magic, they edge us out at 25.1 per game to our 22.2. Rebounds, they're edging us out there as well. They're third in the league in the last 10 games at 46.5 behind a duo of Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr. Knicks only pulling down 44.2 rebounds per game. When you look at the field goal percentage, both teams are shooting pretty paltry field goal percentages at 43.6 for the Knicks and 42.7 for the Orlando Magic. That's good for second worst and worse in the NBA over that stretch. And then you come down to the three-point shooting. Knicks are shooting 37.4% from the three-point line over the last 10 compared to the Orlando Magic's 33% from the three-point line. So, fellas, if the Knicks are going to go out there and win this game, what is going to have to happen? Now, me personally, I think we need to see Mitch rebound from his performance yesterday. I want to see a dominant performance from him. A lot of people are saying, Bamba could be a potential replacement. Well, show us that Bamba can't replace you. So go out there, step up. Also, I want to see RJ be a lot more efficient. Second game of a back-to-back. Let's see how he's going to respond after a poor showing against, the team yesterday. And we'll see how he's able to perform. And with Quick, I want to see Quick continue to play well and continue to be a spark plug off the bench. I want those rebounding numbers to stay up. We didn't even get to his totals. What was it, 17, 7, and 7 from the game yesterday?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so if he can continue to be a well-rounded guard out there, I think it'll quiet some of the discussions as to whether or not he is, a pure facilitator. If he can be, a Swiss Army knife out there at the point guard position and be able to at least control his team and keep us, cool, calm, and collected when we start to hit adversity, then that's perfectly fine for me. Fellas, what are you guys looking for in tonight's game?
I want more three-point shots. We only put up 30, and we were hitting them. I think
43%.
Yeah, I think if we had hit them, put up more. Who knows? That game could have been closer. And then it could have gone. Once you get the game close, you keep it close. You can swing either way. So I think that was a big mistake not to put up more threes. I did pull up some stats here just to to finish up the comparison here. So Alec Burks, when he's on the court, and Derrick Rose and Kemba are filtered out because that creates noise right now. Alec Burks is a plus 0.6. All of his possessions, 3,157, a plus 0.6. Quickley, when you do the same thing, filter out Derrick Rose and Kemba, Quickley, all possessions, which is 2,302 possessions, is a plus 4.8 for a 78th percentile, almost an 80th, almost in the top 20. He's in the top 22 of the entire league.
So no matter how you cut it, Thibs is lying.
I mean, it's just he's looking at an isolated thing, is what it is. Instead of understanding, wow, if I add this ingredient, IQ, it could open up a whole world of opportunities for everybody on the court. And we've seen it. We see it. Just the eye test alone tells us that. The game's changed when he comes in. And it's just sad to see him keep coming in when we're down. He's always playing from behind lately. IQ.
What you call it? Drip Moore says, wow, Magic pregame called RJ Broadway Barrett.
Oh.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Justin
we
L
need an
says he's got the
efficient game from
blinders
RJ.
on.
That's my. I don't even care if we win. I just want an efficient game from RJ. I want to see Grimes look healthy. I want to see Deuce get some burn and look good. And I want to see IQ run the show and feed Obi, unlock him. I'd love to see both of those guys go off for 30. It'd be awesome. Be awesome for our draft picks to go off for 30. Any of them. And Mitch too. I'd like to see Mitch have a good solid game. I'm already decided on Mitch. Like nothing he can do right now can sour me on Mitch. He's a unique player. Could we get that kind of player elsewhere? Possibly, but I think Mitch is going to get better. I think he's going to become a better shot blocker, a better defender. He's going to just keep getting better. So I think his ceiling is a little higher than some of those other guys. It's just a matter of how much money.
I hear you on that. Totally agree with you, George. I'm not too worried about the outcome of this game or the final score. I'm worried about how our young guys play. And even if they play bad, you can still learn from a bad performance.
Absolutely.
Because, at least being out there, you're putting things on film for then, the coaching staff to now take and kind of work with you after the game. Not playing at all, I don't really see how these guys can develop if they're not getting quality minutes. If Deuce goes out there and only gets 5 minutes and we win, depending on how we won, I might be a little bit excited. But if we win because Alec Burks and Evan Fournier went off for 30, 35, and that's how we won, with Deuce getting no minutes, with RJ not playing well, things like that. How does that benefit the Knicks? Because Alec Burks is not going to take those performances and carry them over into next season. Alec Burks is kind of at that age where you expect him to start regressing, as opposed to players like a Deuce, like an RJ, who can play well to end this game and now take that into their offseason workouts, show that to their trainers and say, this is what I need to get better at, and then come back next season looking, better and more improved versions of themselves. That's why I'm really excited to see what those guys can do. I'm hyped that Deuce is going to be available and that Grimes is going to be available. It's now all on Thibs to actually give them some minutes so we can see what they can do.
That's the thing. It's on Thibs.
All on Thibs. All right, fellas, we'll wrap it up there. Foxy, anything you want to say? Any closing comments?
One thing, there was a good comment. Sorry, Foxy.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Nick Yak put in here.
Give me a time stamp.
Fournier, a 306. Fournier,
306.
Yeah, it's
George,
fifth.
in
606. 606.
Oh, man.
606.
Yeah, you did that in the
California?
pregame yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow at 3:00 for the game.
Fournier is fifth in made 3-pointers in the league. Yep, shooting best percentage of the 5, also averaging a steal a game. Last time I looked, steals was defense. He is driving more and dishing more. Definitely worth contract. Yeah, he's getting there.
And steals are part of defense, but you look at one steal a game. How many times is he allowing opposing teams to score on him? It's more than one time. So okay, he might have taken that one steal and it got us, 3 points. If best case scenario, maybe 4 points if Quick got fouled shooting a 3. But he's getting blown by 4, 5, 6 times a game, and that point total starts to count up. So even though he's getting that steal, it's not a balancing act between his defense and his offense. Usually his defense outweighs his offense, and in the games in which it's leveled out, then I'm willing to give him some more minutes. But I don't think Fournier and his defense or steals just says that he's actually even an average defender, because he's still below average. He's an opportunistic defender. You give him an opportunity to strip you, he'll strip you. But if you know what you're doing with the ball in your hand, he's not going to be an issue.
Yeah. Guys don't lie.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He's an odd defender, because sometimes you watch him and like a one-on-one, and you're like, wow, he totally locked that guy up. And you're like, I'm blinking. I'm like, did my eyes see what I thought I saw?
Well, he guessed right.
And then other times he just literally, just kind of like a toll booth operator. Guy just goes right past.
Yep. It's ridiculous. But we'll hope. But as him coming off the bench, you can live with it. Him starting, no, sir. Getting, 28, 29, 30 minutes a game, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aloe Wise is hilarious. He says, one steal doesn't cover that Matador defense. Shout out to Aloe Wise. Also, shout out to Clyde. He's got sayings that I'll be saying for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Knicks Sunday stream. It was a crossover event where we had George join us. George, when's the next pregame?
When's the next game? God, there's only 4 left.
Yeah.
It's been a long season. It's a lot of work goes into the shows we put on.
Wednesday against the Nets.
It's Wednesday? Okay, good. So I have
against
a couple of days to chill. Oh, that's the Wednesday. Oh, yeah. And that's when we're going to debut the new song that my buddy wrote about the Knicks. He wrote about the Knicks, about the whole Knicks community and everything, but it's called Into the Knicks Verse. I thought he was going to call it Enter the Knicks Verse, but he called it Into the Knicks Verse. It's actually on Apple Tunes right now. On iTunes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. You got to debut it.
I know, but
you just leaked it.
It's the soft rollout. We'll do the big.
Once a marketing guy, always a marketing guy.
Yeah.
That's soft rollout.
Yeah. So we'll debut it. He'll come on the show with us. It'll be fun. It'll be a good fun. It's a great song too.
Yeah, I heard a sneak peek. It's definitely fire.
Yeah. It got even better since the one I played you.
Okay, sounds good. Looking forward to hearing it. And I'll go head over to the soft rollout. We surveyed 100 people, said 66 likes. Let's smash that likes button for the vibes. Appreciate it. We surveyed 100 people. Smash that like button on the way out. Hopefully the Knicks can put out a strong performance, and hopefully Thibs can get it together and actually play some of these young guys so we can evaluate them and see what we have on this roster. I want to thank Stephen Fox, our NBA analyst. Also want to thank George at Into the Knicks Verse. You guys can check out his channel and subscribe there. The hyperlink is in the title of the video. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, and want to thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you.
Love you.